Let's go! Let's go, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Spitball. Now, I said I was going to put it out a couple days ago. I've had such a hard time getting my head around this because I've been fighting with everyone on Twitter and Facebook, and you know how I do it, on the Let's Go network. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube especially. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you tell your friends. But I've had such a problem with the NBA Top 75. Like, I know they put them in order for effect. I know they put Jordan first because he's the GOAT, supposedly, but he's not. And LeBron second because they want to get people talking about it. They want to, in this February low that I talk about all the time, right after the trade deadline, but right before March Madness, there's nothing going on in the sports world. But they put them in order just to piss people off. And again, youth is wasted on the young. Because, I get in fights all the time. And this is, the way I'm going to attack it is I thought I'd be able to do one show and really talk about the top 75 from top to bottom. No. I mean, I can only devote time to like one topic. And today's topic is this. Now, I'm a kid of the 90s and the 80s. And, when we talk about Mount Rushmore, I'll never give you 4. I'll only give you 5. Because it's always going to be MJ. It's going to be Kareem. It's going to be Bill Russell. It's got to be. I'm not ready to put LeBron James up there yet. Because, LeBron might be the top 4 player. But when you're on the Mount Rushmore, you better have impact and everything, too. And his impact always hasn't been the greatest. But when you say Magic, you can't say Larry Bird without him. Those two are synonymous. So when someone asks me for my Mount Rushmore, there are 5 on my Mount Rushmore. And if Magic and Bird got to share a 1/4 of the mountain themselves, split between the two, then so be it. But here's my problem is this. We all talk about the Lakers and the Celtics. And then we go talk about Jordan and his domination and the Dream Team and all that. Missed out on all this is the toughest team to play basketball ever. Like, we so forget about Detroit and their bad boys. And their bad boys aren't bad boys without the baddest boy of all, the smallest one of all, Isiah Thomas. Now, Isiah Thomas is ranked number 27 on the top 75. A pretty good score. However, when John Stockton is 4 spots ahead of him, I've got a serious problem. Like, I really do. Like, Isaiah's career was cut short by an Achilles injury at 32 years old. He came, Isiah came in the league from Indiana, a Chicago kid. By the way, the last undefeated team that won a championship, Indiana Hoosiers. Go check it out. But, we talk about Jordan's toughness and whatever. Isiah Thomas and his boys kicked the crap. And they mean kick the crap out of Jordan for 3 or 4 years there. They're the forgotten dynasty. They really should have won 3 in a row. They let one kind of slip away. But they did go back-to-back before Jordan started winning. And that was because of Isiah Thomas. And, he doesn't get the credit because Jordan didn't like him. No one liked him. He's not a likable guy. He wasn't good with the Knicks. He wasn't good with the CBA. He ruined that. But as a basketball player, man, John Stockton's not a pimple on his ass. And you can say, like, all the young kids fight me. Oh, the most career assists ever. More all defensive teams. Well, really? Well, in 1989, they went from 2 all-NBA teams to 3. And Stockton made the 3rd team a bunch of times. And it's a popularity contest. And, sadly, by 1994, Isiah was out of the league. Played 12 seasons. But he was an all-star every season but his last. I mean, he's a tough guy. And, to this day, we talk about the triple-doubles and everything like that. And numbers, we hear about Stockton doing this and whatever. If Stockton played Isiah in a game of 21, if they played as best of 7, Isiah would win 7. Now listen, Stockton was a great player. But, we're talking about, think about this. Isiah Thomas found a way to get under Jordan's skin and beat him. And, John Stockton had the 2-time in a row MVP in Karl Malone, and they never managed to beat him in the final. But not only did they beat Jordan, they beat Jordan up. And no person in the history of the NBA has averaged 20 points or more and 13 assists or more in a season. Look it up. 20 and 13. No player has ever gone 20 and 13. Ever. Now you might say Stockton shot a little better, or his free throws or the threes. No. Don't let the numbers ruin the eye test. Isiah Thomas was as tough as they come. And when you talk about all-time greatest point guards, Steph Curry's in the mix. Magic Johnson will always be number 1. And, you got your hit pick, like Allen Iverson and this and that. No. The second best point guard of all time, his name was Isiah Thomas. And for the audacity for these young kids who really don't know shit, tell me how good Stockton was? Come on, please. They don't watch basketball. Like, they don't. They're reading stats off a page. Like, when you played the Pistons, you knew who you were getting. And, they had a pretty balanced team, but, John Sally's not going to carry the load offensively. I mean, he did have Joe Dumars, correct. But this was before, this was when 90 points matters. When 90 points would win a game. 95 points win a game, that would be a third quarter score. 95 points win a game with the defense and everything like that. But, 20 and 13, he averaged more than 20 points 5 times in his career. He ain't a pimple on... It makes me so annoyed. Isiah Thomas was an all-time great. Legitimately an all-time great. And that's the problem with these lists. The further we get down the trough, we get all the young guys moving up. At some point, someone said, will MJ be the GOAT or number 1 on the list when they come out in 25 years where they're top 100? Probably not. The greatest of all time probably hasn't been born yet, or just born. However, the greatest that ever lived is still Kareem, and I will fight you tooth and nail, because basically, without Kareem, there's no Jordan. Jordan did things a little bit better, but the one who made the blueprint was Kareem. He was in mainstream movies first. He was the guy who speaks out against social issues. He's the guy that had the most unblockable shot, the highest score, most points of all time. And at the age of 41 in the NBA Finals, against the Detroit Pistons. When it came to crunch time, where the ball still went? The ball still went to 33. So, again, that's just one of my bones of contention. And then, in the next edition of Spitball, and I have to get into this another time. Now, Giannis, I'm terrible with names. And I'm not going to say his name. We all know Giannis. He's 27 years old. He's done a lot already, but I think the future's ahead of him. I think on this list, we put too much on what may be, or it appears to be, but never will be. But it hasn't happened yet. How is Giannis 18 on the list? He's 27 years old. That's on the next edition. These guys are too young and they're way too high on the list. And we got to make some changes to that. But you know what? To all these youngins out there, stop reading numbers. Go to YouTube and talk to old people. Isiah Thomas dominated the game. And listen, Stockton was a great player. And by all means, he is a top 75 player. But you know what? If you're a top 75 player, you should just be a top 75 player. And that's the way I would have made the list. However, And on subsequent shows, I'm going to have to fight you guys off why Kobe Bryant is not top 5 of all time. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But, these will be fun on the next edition of Spitball. And make sure you tell your friends. These are good listens, and these are fun shows to do. These will take up some time to get through, the February doldrums, because, This is the toughest time in the sports calendar, but at least we got a little something to talk about. Next time we'll talk about Giannis. Why is he 18? Why is AD on this list? You know, they had their careers are incomplete. If you haven't played 10 years in the league, you shouldn't be on this list, period. But that's it for this edition of SPiTBALLiN. And you can find us on the Let's Go Network. And tell your friends, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, a whole 9 yards. Catch you next time. This is Dollar Bill saying bye for now.